Hey YouTube, this is the art of prepping. So we have a lot of categories as preppers in terms of how we prepare, what kind of things we prepare for, um, and the gear that we use to prepare. So in the big picture here, let's just pick a scenario that you're bugging in, that you have to shelter in place. So would you be considering your top 10 particular categories or things that you would consider that would be the priority to help accomplish your bug in event? And it may last days or weeks. Hopefully it would never last more than months, but depending on the severity of the damage of calamity to the infrastructure, to your city or state. It could be a regional disaster. It could be a nuclear war. Whatever it may be, you may actually have to endure months without the traditional infrastructure that we've gotten used to with modern utility companies and roadways, grocery stores, gas stations, and your job. Maybe you just can't go to your job. Maybe the job is not even there anymore. Maybe it was destroyed. Maybe it's just not even, something that is even needed anymore because there's no reason to do that. But what I will say though is there's a lot of different types of thoughts on this, and depending on your philosophies to begin with, it may determine on how you view the priorities that you may set for yourself. For example, I'm the kind of person, though, that thinks that of the top 10 priorities for bugging in, it doesn't really require some of these extra frivolous types of things that people have gotten used to thinking that is necessary. And what I mean by that is that I think that you should have some gear set aside that isn't very advanced. It's more primitive. That's more basic. That's manual. I'm not knocking like GPS systems and all kinds of electronics that may store data, but I'm also just being a realist here. So of my 10 items, I've chosen a basic repair kit items for your home. Since you are bugging in, you would have your shelter option there. But I think you should have basic repair items to keep your shelter up, your home up. That could be a Gorilla Tape, hurricane tape, nails, screws, extra wood, such as 2x4s, plywood sheeting, tarps. Tarps would be really good. I would definitely have some cording and rope with that. Maybe even you might need chain, various fasteners. You might want to have saws, various hammers, could be sledgehammers, screwdrivers, pry bars, axes, and safety equipment too. We really shouldn't overlook the safety equipment. This is going to be something that I really think that, having a hard hat, safety glasses, steel-toed boots, and, proper work gloves, and maybe even goggles too, depending on the situation. It's going to be critical, depending on how dangerous the repairs could be, because you may be up on the top of the roof or under the house. You may have a busted pipe, or if you're on the roof, it could be obviously a chimney damage, roof damage. It could be a leak somewhere. What I'm thinking about though is also, glass breakage. Glass can easily break out in a bad storm or through a man-made disaster. And so your entryways, as your doors and windows, need to be reinforced and or replaced or at least patched with plywood, 2x4s, and tarps if need be. The next item I would say would be a secondary means to heat and cool yourself in the home. That could be like a wood stove or a portable non-electric style heater. You definitely would obviously want to have extra clothes, blankets, and things like that. Maybe even, get in your sleeping bag at night. you have to do what you have to do. To help cool yourself down, I go to the lowest floor, open up some windows, let the air flow through the house, and stay in shaded areas. Wear loose, breathable clothing. You can use sweat rags, sweat towels, neck towels, head towels, and these things are going to really help you. Bring and pull the heat off your body and evaporate it with the water. You can also just sit in the tub for a while and cool off. Probably the most efficient way is to get in your basement, or if you have a root cellar, or a wine cellar. Those could possibly be very good because the temperatures are already very cool. Some tornado shelters can be cool, depends on the ventilation of them. Some are not. So the next item I would say would be your water storage. Have a minimum of probably of at least 3 gallons per person. I would say at least a couple weeks minimum. And that bare minimum, though, really doesn't work for me. I think, having 3 to 6 months would probably be a lot better. But you have to do what you have to do, especially if you have a lot of people in your family. It could be difficult to have multiple months of water storage, especially if you live in a very small house and have no storage capabilities, such as a garage or shed. Food storage, obviously you need calories. You don't do well if you can't think straight, and you can't go through your day without being completely distracted by being hungry. And you can also increase your chances of getting injured if you don't have the right amount of calories. The next item would be first aid, and as we said, sometimes just being hungry, nutrient deficient, or not getting enough sleep, or being overstressed can lead to injuries. Injuries really do need to be taken care of immediately, so little things don't become big things. We should have a decent first aid kit and a trauma kit, as well as those skills to use the darn thing. Especially like other basic skills like CPR, the Heimlich maneuver, just basically how to use a sling, how to put a sling on a person, how to splint someone up, how to deal with hot and cold injuries. The next item would be hygiene. Besides just, storing extra bars of soap, you may want to go with alcohol hand sanitizer or alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Because you could use a lot less water that way than if you use regular soap. You also have to think about, wet wipes, and, those could be really, really advantageous. Excellent idea. You could buy a case or two at Sam's Club if you really wanted to of wet wipes, and I'd get the highest quality possible. Have extra towels and anything else you would want for hygiene. Maybe extra toothbrushes on standby and extra toothpaste. Personal protection would be my 7th one. I would recommend probably some type of firearms training and maybe an alternative weapon, a non-lethal weapon at least that you're familiar with, as well as constantly improving your awareness of your surroundings. These things are ongoing for people, and we all have to work on constantly being aware of our surroundings, but having good, secure doors on our house, locking our windows and doors, using our security system, if we have one. Dogs do help alert people, especially when they're sleeping. And having a plan of action of how to get out of the house if there's a fire, and what to do during a home invasion. These are important things. The next item would be number 8. Communications. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a two-way radio, because this is going to be the top priorities and more of the basic outline of the top 10. Obviously, I would love for you to see, you to have a two-way radio, especially like a ham radio, and for you to be a licensed ham operator. But if that's all you have is just a few bucks, maybe a basic FRS, GMRS, or a CB could maybe get you through. But even more basic, a basic AM and FM radio, a weather radio, and maybe even a shortwave radio if you can find a combo that has a few other means of powering the radio besides just batteries or a plug-in. If they are batteries, make sure to have plenty of resources in terms of extra batteries, long life, alkaline batteries, or even lithium batteries. are going to really be recommended here. But if you can find the ones that have a crank capability to recharge the capacitor or the rechargeable batteries in the radio, or solar paneled ones, those are really great too. Okay. And the next item here that I would recommend would be an alternative energy source. Now, this is kind of controversial because this is not exactly what you would say a must, but I will say though that in my opinion at least, there's a lot of things that you can go without, including like electricity and things like that. But for me personally though, I think that it would really help to recharge devices and to give a little sense of normalcy if you had electricity, or it could be just from a generator source, or it could be from maybe a solar panel system, and that's up to you of how you would want to do that and what kind of backup sources that you'd want to include. But these are my top 10, and I'll just review it one more time. Having basic repair items and gear to repair your shelter. You would have, that would probably be your home in most cases, hopefully, that you would be stuck in and not somewhere else, hopefully not in a public place. You would have a secondary means to heat and cool your home or yourself in the home. Water storage, food storage, first aid and skills, hygiene, personal protection, communications, either by receiving and being able to be aware of the information of things going on around you, or to communicate out, and of course alternative energy source. Now if you counted those, you're like, well, that's just 9, and you would be correct. The 10th one I kind of held back here, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more in depth. And this by no means is not the most important of any of these, but it's lighting. And to have light is a bonus that you do have to have. I mean, it's kind of critical, and it's kind of not really an option to some degree for safety, and for safety reasons in particular. But just to be more productive at night, you could have it to identify threats and to identify from other people and animals, for one, but also threats that could injure you. For example, if you're just walking around in your home at night because you got thirsty, you don't want to run into something and break your nose or literally break a toe. And people do this all the time, walking in their own houses. So just having a little headlamp could help you keep yourself from getting injured in your own home. And a weapons light on your weapon could identify threats. A little lantern in every room could just give you enough area lighting to see around and do tasks. The only thing, though, you have to be careful with, and some of these you do have to be mindful of, just like you wouldn't go around telling everybody in the neighborhood how much food you have stored, or how much water you have stored, or what kind of guns you have, and how many bullets you have. It's the same thing with light discipline. And light discipline simply is being mindful of how you handle your usage of light. That may sound a little bit extreme, but it's not. If there was a civil disturbance and you don't want to stand out, especially at night, you don't want to be the only person with a glowing light coming through your window of your living room when everybody else has no electricity, and you have all this light, and you're bringing attracting attention to yourself. So the first thing to do would be to make sure you have some kind of blackout curtains, or if you are going to use a light, make sure it's in a part of the house that people can't see the light from the outside. So light discipline really needs to be focused on. You don't really hear a lot about that. It's kind of almost similar to even the discussions I've heard, and I think are very valid, concerning noise discipline. You don't want to be making a lot of racket and act like you have all these resources when everybody else around you is starving in an emergency. You want to kind of be laid low. You having your kids in the backyard playing with, and having lots of energy, and they're not lethargic, and they're not hungry looking, and they look well fed. That ain't going to go over very well. So anyways, these are my top 10 priorities if you had a bug in. Thanks for watching.